beveled.
Hello everyone, Battle Beaver here again. I know it's been some time since I posted a video, but this one is kind of special. I have here in my hands one of only two of the new Sig Sauer MCX rifles in Canada. I'm very grateful to have this privilege, thanks to the great people at MD CHARLTON, who are the exclusive SIG importers here in Canada. Since I have this rifle for just a few days, forgive me if this review and teardown seems rushed and I get some of the part names wrong. The errors, if any, are all mine. So let's get to the bench teardown, where I'll show you all the cool features of this SIG MCX. Then I'll head to the range and give it a try and let you know my first impressions. Okay, to start off this bench review of the MCX, we'll start off with some external features. So this is a semi-auto 5.56 with a 16-inch barrel with a 1 in 7 twist. It's got a short stroke piston system and weighs in at about 6 pounds. Now, if I compare this with my Stag Arms, which is here, and yes, I do have some extra accessories, the Magpul stock and the handle and some rail covers. This weighs in at about 8 pounds the way it's configured. I figure maybe the extra accessories probably account for 1 pound of it, so it would still be a 7-pound rifle compared with the MCX, which is a 6-pound rifle from the factory. So the SIG comes from the factory with these front and rear flip-up metal sights and one magazine, standard USGI magazine, pinned to 5 rounds, of course. This rifle is convertible to different calibers. SIG will be selling a 300 blackout with a 1 in 6 twist and a 7.62 by 39 with a 1 in 9.5 twist. And we'll get into how you convert the caliber a little later when I strip it down. But the barrel conversion from SIG is meant to be done in about 1.5 minutes, which is pretty amazing. As far as barrel lengths, SIG will be offering barrels all the way down to 9 inches. The SIG MCX upper is compatible with any AR lower. It will come with a kit to block off your buffer tube in order to make that conversion. Now, one of the coolest features of this rifle, I think, is the foldable stock. You fold the stock by pressing up and it folds over. Even while folded, you can still access the selector, the bolt lock and bolt release, and the mag release. The stock is very easily removable, and when I get down to the teardown, you'll see how easy that is. SIG is also offering a few stock options for this. Now, the stock that comes with it from the factory, they call their SAS stock. SIG has different options, including a telescoping stock, and I don't know if you can see these grooves in the upper and the lower here. That's for the telescoping stock that will be able to be just pushed in and pulled out. They also make a MPX folding stock and the SBX stock. Now, I'm just going to take my hands away and overlay these different stocks just so you see what they might look like. So first, we have the telescoping stock. Next, the MPX folding stock. And finally, the SBX stock. Another nice thing, especially if you're a left-handed shooter, this comes from the factory with ambidextrous mag release, ambidextrous selector. I'll flip it over to show you in a second. It comes with this little lever here to make it easier to press that to lock your bolt open. It also comes with QD mounts left and right side on the lower and also on the stock. Okay, let's flip this thing over, and you can see the enlarged mag release on this side and the selector on this side. There's tons of room for mounting accessories on this rifle. From here to the back is a full 17 3/4 inch long Picatinny rail. On each side of the upper, you have 13 key mod points on each side and 11 key mod points on the bottom. Another nice feature is the mag well is slightly beveled and flared out to make magazine insertion easier. The lower is compatible with AR-15 grips and selector switches, and also compatible with drop-in triggers, for instance from Timney or Geisley, etc. The grip is a Smith & Wesson grip, and it is a storage grip. I don't believe it's waterproof. There's no rubber seal there, but it is storage compatible. According to Sig's website, the trigger is between 6.6 and 8.6 pounds. Now I'm not sure why there's a range on that trigger pull weight, but I did test it with my Lyman trigger pull gauge, and it was pretty consistent at around 8 pounds 7 ounces. So that's pretty much it for the external features. The upper and the lower come apart just like any other AR. You just punch out the front and rear takedown pins, and it safely comes apart. So we'll start here by removing the charging handle and the bolt carrier group. So as you can see, that is a lot different than a standard AR bolt carrier, and the charging handle as well. Now the charging handle is very similar to a standard charging handle on AR-15, but it is a little shorter and it is different. So regular AR-15 charging handles, I believe, are not compatible with this rifle. One of the other difference I want to point out is the forward assist. It is different than a standard AR forward assist, and Sig made this easier to replace if you need to. Okay, I wanted to give you a good look at the rear of the upper receiver just so you can see the differences. Up here is where the top part of the bolt carrier group on this rifle that holds the guide rods and the recoil springs insert. Bolt carrier obviously slides in here. Okay, let's have a closer look at the bolt carrier. We'll disassemble it by removing the firing pin retaining pin. Take the firing pin out. And as you can see, the bolt carrier itself is similar in many respects to an AR-15, but there are some notable differences. In order to remove the cam pin, you have to remove one of the guide rods and one of the recoil springs. Let's go ahead and do that. You just release the tension on the spring. And remove the guide rod from the front. And let me zoom in here to show you the detail. So as I mentioned, it's necessary to remove one of the recoil springs and the guide rod to remove the cam pin. So with the firing pin out, we can remove the cam pin, and you'll see on this top part of the piston rod here, there's a small cutout to allow the cam pin to come out. And then the bolt simply slides out like any other regular AR bolt. Now you notice there's no gas rings on this, obviously, because this is a piston system and not a direct gas system. Another thing about the bolt is it looks like it's fully compatible with standard AR-15 extractors and ejectors. So turning the bolt over to the other side, you'll see that it's marked as multi-caliber. So if you do end up buying a conversion kit for this rifle, convert it to 300 blackout or 7.62x39, you do not need a new bolt carrier. All you need to do is get the new bolt from Sig for the new caliber. Now I believe the bolt, if needed, will be included with the caliber conversion kit. You can further disassemble the bolt carrier group and remove the top piston rod by depressing a small detent inside this hole. Now obviously the firing pin needs to be removed before you do this, which is already done. So you simply use a small punch, push on the detent, if I can find it, and the top should slide off. I got it. So if you're into detailed cleaning once in a while, you could throw this and all the other parts into your sonic cleaner, for instance. The forend on the MCX is also very easily removed. It's held in place back here by one of the takedown pins. So you simply slide it off, and you'll see there's a rail system up here that it slides into, and that's all there is to that. As I mentioned earlier, Sig made the barrel swapping on this rifle to be ultra simple. You simply remove these two T27 Torx bolts and the barrel slides right off. Another interesting and cool feature, in my opinion, of this rifle is Sig has user swappable and replaceable latch points for the charging handle. Now I have seen a few well-used ARs where this part of the upper will wear down from the charging handle latching and unlatching all the time. So what Sig did was made these replaceable. These are simply what look like to me little roll pins. And if they do become worn out, you simply drive them out from the top and punch in new pins. Now, although I couldn't find any information about this on the Sig site, it appears to me that the lower part of the feed ramps here are also replaceable, and they're held in by 2 torx bolts as well. Now, I'm not sure under what circumstances you might need to replace this. Maybe this is a wearable part, and it's also possible, and again, I don't know, I'm just guessing, that for the different calibers, Sig might supply different feed ramps in their conversion kits. The other part on the upper that's user replaceable or swappable, and I'm not sure why, but this apparently is the cam pin wear path. So if you need to replace that, it's easily done again by removing 2 torx bolts. The piston system in this rifle has 2 adjustments. There's U for unsuppressed, and you can see on the other side S for suppressed. Now again, I'm guessing, I don't have access to a manual for this rifle, so that's what makes sense to me. Now apparently Sig has made these settings also to use if your firearm becomes extremely fouled and you need to adjust the gas system. There's no need to disassemble a rifle at all in any way to adjust the gas system. Right now I have, I believe, in an unsuppressed, as that side of the switch is down. So this can be done in the field simply by using the tip of a round and pushing the switch down to switch it between suppressed and unsuppressed. Okay, going back to the lower again for a moment, I want to show you inside here. At the back, obviously, there's no buffer tube, but what you have is a hard rubber stop, it looks like. It's also replaceable if need be by 1 torx bolt. Now I believe this is I guess under certain conditions the bolt or the recoil springs might not take up the full recoil. So they've designed the bolt with a small cutout at the end. So I'm assuming if the recoil springs don't do their job, the bolt comes back and hits that rubber stopper and doesn't produce any damage to the firearm. And finally, again, as I mentioned earlier, these stocks are easily removed in order to put on a different stock. And I'll show you that right now. Simply remove this one, loosen it rather, it's captive. 1 torx bolt, and the stock comes off. You notice on the back, it's just a very short length, a Picatinny rail, and that's to allow mounting of other Sig stocks. So that's pretty much all I have for the bench part of the review. Let's take this thing to the range. Hi guys, as promised, I'm here at Urban Tactical. This is my home range. You've seen it on my other videos, and I'm here to test fire probably 3 or 4 different types of ammo through this brand new MCX. So let's get at it. Okay, first up I have some Federal American Eagle 55 grain 223. Okay, next I have some Remington UMC 55 grain ammo 223 as well. Next up is Federal Green Tip XM 855. And finally, I have some Barnaul. This is steel case ammo with, it's also coated in lacquer. So first and foremost, many thanks to MD CHARLTON for this amazing opportunity to be the first Canadian YouTuber to have access to this new MCX to review. There's already an FRT for this rifle, and the RCMP has classified the MCX as an AR variant. So it is restricted. If you're wondering when this Sig MCX will be available in Canada, I have good news. MD CHARLTON tells me that the first shipment available to Canadian retailers should be here well before the end of the year. The MCX has a suggested retail price of $2,799, and while that seems expensive, it's not really when you consider our Canadian dollar is at an 11-year low versus the US dollar, and the fact that this isn't any regular AR, especially with all the features it has. So what are my impressions? I like this MCX. I like it a lot. It has some amazing features like easy caliber conversion, fully ambidextrous controls, which are not only important if you're a left-handed shooter, but also for shooters who participate in any kind of tactical shooting where you're often shooting off-handed. The several wear parts are easily user replaceable should they need to be, are also a great feature. I really like the large forend, which allows mounting anything you want, including the key mod system. If I had to pick the best thing I like, it would definitely be the folding stock system. Very cool. So it's pretty clear to me that Sig has put a lot of thought into the design of this MCX rifle. As you saw in the range part of the review, it cycles flawlessly on a variety of ammunition. And although it's a light rifle at 6 pounds, I felt no recoil difference between the MCX and any other AR type rifle. Finally, I'd like to give thanks to Fishing World in Hamilton and Urban Tactical in Brantford, who allowed me to use their alpha range once again to do my videos. I hope you enjoyed this review and would appreciate it if you consider subscribing to my channel. I have several cool new videos coming up that I think you'll really like. Thanks for watching.